Right guys, welcome back to another build episode. I'm going to be building out the canopy on this, probably get it done in a couple of parts. Very basic build. I don't want to box everything in. I'm not going to do a false floor or any of that sort of stuff. I just want 12 volt but reliable. I'll do a panel, you know, that sort of thing, you know, with a DC, but I need drawers. I want a section for my dog, but then I want as much space as possible so I can still use it as a ute, throw stuff in the back, be able to lock it all up when I'm done. So yeah, stick around and I'll start rolling the footage. Thanks guys. Alright, so I got a bit ahead of myself. I've already installed a couple of these drawers. Now they're just on this sort of, I don't even know what you call it, this universal challenge. They're glued and screwed down. This side's going to be for tools and working and carrying on. There's going to be a dog box in here. We're going to cut a vent in here. This side's going to be for cooking, so I won't show you too much. I'll show you this after. If you already know about him, Slider Solutions has supplied a fridge slide for this. Absolutely awesome, but I'll get more into that after. This side will be just for cooking, so this will be like my pantry and that sort of side of it. Power boxes go on here. Once we get the 12 volt in, I picked up one of these sort of complete unit from iTech World. That was at the Full Drive show down in Mandurah. That paired with 100 amp hours of lithium for now. This was cheap. This came from the Big Blue place. It was like 300 bucks, couldn't go past it. Decided to go with lithium on this one just because it's lighter, more usable power. I went with the slimline because in between here, just the way I've done it with the, this is a patrol wing kit on the King's drawers, actually leaves you about 28 mil and the battery needs about 25 mil, so that's going to fit in here perfect with the battery box. These drawers, I was going to build my own drawers. These were $44 each, I think they worked out to be. 2 drawers on run out from King's. So I can't build them for that price. So whacked these in already. They're screwed down. I've left a bit of a gap. A lot of people build the whole floor up and do a false floor, but I feel like you lose a lot of room. Like here I can sort of slide tables under or whatever I want. There's bits and pieces. So once my big fridge goes in, it's going to be nearly onto the roof. Once that's all blanked in, I'll be able to screw my 12 volt oven to the back wall. And this side will have a partition as well. But this back section here is basically going to be, I think I measured it out to be about 700 mil of free space. So the whole thing's going to be insulated. This double-sided, I don't know what you'd call this, but yeah, it's the same stuff they use on houses. Stuck it on here. It seems to be handling the heat so far. But I'm going to insulate it after I've put everything in. It might feel a little bit backwards, but I'm just not sure how everything's going to sit yet. I never have a real plan of when I'm building things. I just sort of stick things where I feel like they should go, and then they either fit or they don't. So with the battery fitting in here, I mean, that was awesome. But today's job is going to be fitting this up, and then the next job is getting the wood cut. Jason is actually helping with that as well. So Jason from Slider Solutions. Great bloke actually, Aussie company, Aussie family owned company, which is awesome. Now I'm going to go ahead and start fitting this in, but before I do that, I should also mention that I picked up just a ready-made wiring kit, so this will run for your smart alternator as well. We've got a few different bits and pieces, but yeah, bloody thick. I think it's I can't remember the number of it. It says it on the back here. Anyway, it gives you the details. But this picked up for, I think this was 80 bucks on special. I think I paid about 550 for this, and this was about 315 for this with that, and plus the drawer. So this is going to be a very budget-friendly build. You can see that fits in real snug. I've already glued and screwed this batten in. I'm just going to screw these across this way, screw these down, also run silicone under it as well, so it'll be glued and screwed, and then we can put the battery in. Alright, so we'll whack a bit of this insulation in before the battery box goes in. Got my little mate with me holding the camera today. So we just marked it out off the battens. Stuff's really easy to cut. If you're not sure, get an adult to use the knife for you. Okay, that's the first part done. We've insulated it. Now I need to put the battery holder in. All right, Lovely bit of that Sikaflex stuff for you. And all going well. Like that. That'll set as hard as nails in there. Screw, 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 screw. And then we have a battery box. That's it, all glued and screwed in. We'll let the glue dry, then I'll mount the battery. Alright, now drop the battery in. These are really light. I'm pretty stoked I went with this setup. Would not want that to be any tighter. That only just fit in, and that's with me making a mess. So I'll go clean up, button that in. But you can see, once the lid goes on, I've just got to trim this a bit. Once the lid goes on, control panel's here, you're not even going to know where the battery is. Alright, nice and neat, tucked in there, out of the way. That'll give me 100 amps. Man, I only run a fridge, I don't need a crazy setup. Don't look at that, don't look at that. But yeah, nice and neat. Power at this end. Power at this end. And then anyway, power at this end, and the board's going to run just here. So I'll probably have to drill a hole somewhere around here, so the power can run to the front of the car. But that's not going anywhere. Once that glue dries down the bottom there, that's not going anywhere. Plus the silicone has like a pretty good sort of like a dampening effect anyway, so. Right, I've just docked off work and I'm off to go pick up all of the wood to start forming the back out on the canopy. So it's going to be all CNC cut, so I'll film that and show you now. Okay, so just picked the pieces up from Jace. You would have seen the CNC running. If I haven't thrown it up, I'll throw it up now. Yeah, so much easier than cutting it by hand, but definitely something you could do at home if you're doing a DIY job. I don't have any woodworking tools, to be honest, so I'm gonna need to go borrow some though, because I forgot when I sent Jace the drawings to put one of the cutouts in for the roof. I'll show you quick. So where that meets, I need to just do a cutout, which is no big drama, except for I haven't got any woodworking tools, so I'm gonna go borrow some of them now. And oh, one more on the other side. And this one, that's going to be where the power board goes. I've notched it and everything, it fits perfect, but you can't actually get it in the way I've got it in one piece. So I'm going to cut it down here. I should be able to slot that piece in, carpeted separate, and then this will be a separate panel that'll bolt up there. Should make sense in a couple of minutes. I'll go make the cuts, dummy it up, and I'll get back to you. All right, a couple of trims. And that's it there, sort of just mocked up, just sitting in place. That definitely needed to be cut into two, just to get it in the way that, I don't know, geometry was, to get it to fit in between here. I'll get this in first, that way I know where things have got to run. but that obviously comes up a little bit, sort of touches the roof. But yeah, I think I'll mock this up a little bit further with a couple of screws, and we'll go from there. Alright, so it's going to sit somewhere like that, cleared there, so we can get the plugs in from the front. I have to drill a hole in here so that the wires will come through and around, but you'll see that at the end. But I'm pretty happy with the fixing of that, so just got to pull the front fascia of this off now and mount it. That's just mounted roughly with a couple of tech screws for now. I've got to get some better nuts and bolts to hold it. But I can bolt the panel back on and that'll stay there while I can remove the rest of it and carpet it. So I'll whack this one on next, and then we'll work out I guess where the 12 volt entry is going to be. I'm thinking around here. That way it's still covered by the cabin on the other side, so it's not going to get hammered with dirt and rain, but I'll still be able to access it. So alright, so quick hole both sides, and we'll just fit one of these little glands in. The wire itself is actually comes like this. The wire itself is actually quite thick, so we'll probably strip all this back to get it through, and we'll send it. I'll start at the engine bay and we'll work it all the way down. Yeah, quick sort of out of the way spot, but also accessible, but not going to get blasted from the dirt and whatnot. Enough room to bend the cord up and in. I was trying to get like a 90-degree one with a bend, but I just couldn't find one. So she'll do, that's for sure. Feeding the cables down as far as you can, all the way to the back of the car, and then we just cable tie this up out of the way, up on top of something else, and then, man, we pretty much got power. I'll have to trim the ends off, shorten it up a little bit once I get to the other end. But we'll just drag this through anyway, so I always start at the front, drag it through to the back, and that way all your slack's right at the end, and this is easier to cut off than the rest up the front. The other end's got the fuse on it. So now it's a pre-made kit, and it came with one of these massive fuses. They're not the greatest, MIDI's definitely better, but you just got to keep an eye on these, make sure these don't start looking like they're deforming from the heat. Every now and then just put your hand under the bonnet and feel them. If they are getting hot, then you've got to swap it out. They're not the greatest, but it's what it came with. Right, under the car's done, that one and that black one, plenty of room, plus got a little bit fancy, and we whacked a bit of this protective conduit around from Car Builders. I don't know if you see it down in the bottom there. All underneath is buttoned up, and now just have to strip this back. I keep saying weave, but it's just me working on the car. Beautiful. Here we go. Now just got to feed it through. Righto, we're through. Plenty of room here. Plumb that up. I cut the plug off. I actually thought I was going to have too much, so I wasn't worried about the ends, but I've got to whack some new ends on here. But a little bit of that fancy conduit at the back here, nice and smooth. So we've got power to the back. I just need to put that other board on here, drill some holes, map it out, and then when the times come, once it's carpeted, we'll have power. And that looks like a good spot, something like that. Righto, so we placed this, got the holes ready to run the wiring, batteries here, got the spaghetti factory going on in here. I think rather than going through piece by piece, I'm gonna go and buy some wire it, carpet it, and then I'm just gonna show you when it's done. Righto, so I'm pretty stoked with how this is coming along. This is neat as. Carpet pretty much matches the stuff of this the King's drawers comes in, so I'm happy with that as well. But I need a couple more screws from to get into the metal here, and then I need some more of this. I think it's 6 gauge or something like that wire so I can wire up the circuit breaker into here, blah, blah, blah. By the end of the afternoon, I should have the fridge plugged in. All right, we skipped through that pretty quick. I've wired up the circuit breaker. These are the ones here that'll have the three-way Anderson plug. The blue one is for a smart alternator, which I'm pretty sure I'm not using. I got on 4Scan and I'm pretty sure I've turned it off, so I'll still plug it in. But anyway, that and that, putting your head on it. In the back here, we've neatened up this panel. I'm just gonna put it all together now, and hopefully we'll have power to the battery, which is tucked down here. And then I just need to run it from the car, and then it should charge. Later on we'll do a solar panel, but that's another story. Right, that's all plugged in, wired up. Moment of truth. Oh, beauty. All right, I'm sure I've got to set this, but nothing left to do but wire in the charge from the car, and we're good to go. Righto, that is done. That is charging off the car. Everything is working as it should. It is neat and tidy. This stuff's still loose. I haven't bolted that in. I'll save that for the next episode. Big shout out to Jason from Slider Solutions. He CNC cut everything here. He's also got off-track supply code going. Find him on Facebook and Instagram. I'll put up a phone number now, something like that. But he cut everything for me to fit, and it all just bolted up as it should, except for I couldn't get this in one piece. I had to make a cut, but that's not his fault. That's my own measurements and whatnot. Everything else on here, absolutely stoked. Charging as it should. Got the little lithium tucked in down here. The carpet Jace gave me matches pretty much the stuff that came on the King's drawers. I'm going to leave it there for today. So part one, part two, I've got to come back. I've got to finish up the carpeting on the other side. I've got to run some lights, I've got to buy some lights, I've got to run some lights, I've got to, what are we going to do? I've got to run all the insulation, etc. I'm going to cut a vent in on the other side. Yeah, so fair bit to go, but I'm going to be able to put my fridge in. Actually, that's something else. I don't know if you can see it. It's all underneath here for now. I'm going to go through this properly on the next episode, but it's a fridge slide from Slider Solutions. No bearings, weighs next to nothing, and it's a tilt slide. I'll go through that on the next step. And apart from that, I'm going to go get my fridge and plug it in. Thanks for watching, guys.